Hey, good morning, guys, and happy 4th of July, one of my favorite days of the year. Something about fireworks and patriotism and listening to some American music, hanging out with the family is just always a great day. I'm trying to get this done early in the day so I can get on with things. I don't drink coffee. This is my one vice, Diet Coke, that I'll be having to get rid of because you can't really stay hydrated on the road drinking Diet Coke all morning. Anyway, I wanted to take the time. This is probably going to be a pretty lengthy. Why do my shirts always wrinkle? I don't know. It's going to be a pretty lengthy discussion today, and that's okay. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions I've been being asked. I'm going to try to tie them all into one. But I got to some of what I'm going to share with you guys. Hopefully, gives you some food for thought. I think a lot of it is real, and people have told me it's very sensible. But at the same time, there are going to be some people that want to be, I guess, in denial and things, and that's okay too. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. Just ask you to look in the mirror a little bit at who you are and be honest with yourself. But um, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is going to come from personal experience. I'm certainly no authority, but we're going to talk about love today. People have asked me some questions. Do I believe in love at first sight? Do I believe in soulmates? What's my history and things of that nature? So let's get right into it, I guess, and share a bunch of different thoughts I got and reasons and rationales to why I think those things. And a good part for me is that it's July 4th. I leave in just a few days. So I only have maybe one other big topic I'd like to talk about me. And then you guys pretty much know everything there is to know about me. I try to be as open and transparent as I can. And then the journey will take over and we will start to really experience the fun out there on the road because it's not going to have anything to do with me. It's going to be about the folks I meet, the stories they tell, the feelings they have, and just again fellow humans and what their thoughts and passions are. So anyway, love. Let's I guess start by saying this. Someone asked me if I believe in love at first sight. Let me be as clear as I can on this. No, I do not. I believe in you can be lust at first sight. You can be attracted to somebody. There could be a certain connection. But to me, everything of any substance in life, and nothing's more substantial than love, is comes from respect. You can't respect somebody you've just met. I'm sorry. When you love somebody deeply, it comes from um, from something inside where you just look at them and it's not physical. It's what they do. It's how they act. It's how they treat you, and that doesn't happen at first sight. Um, I have a definition I do believe in soulmates. I know that word gets used a lot, but I have a definition as to what I think a soulmate is. And if you hear it, you may ask yourself, or at least say to yourself, that makes a lot of sense. I've told people before, and they wanted to make sure I got that out there because they do believe in that. But um, in my lifetime, it's been I'm 50 years old, and it's something of a whirlwind. And the journey is point to thumb journey. So some of what I'm about to tell you is pointing the thumb at myself and sharing with you why I think the way I do, based upon my own experience and my own honesty. Okay, so um, I've been fortunate in my lifetime to have loved somebody um, deeply and truly. I mean, we all want to be involved in that notebook kind of love, that truly, deeply uh, kind of love. And I'm fortunate and blessed to say that I have experienced that in my lifetime. Um, Circumstances are such that it didn't work out or we're not together, and that's fine. I think we'll always know we have a piece of each other's heart to some degree, but we're both happy for each other. We still talk every 2 or 3 months. Nothing dramatic or about us. Just simply, she's remarried. She has her own kids. I've got my kids, and just simple, caring for another human being. Um, but it was a special time. But why it's so special that I say that is for this is my theory, and one of my theories, and again I got to point the thumb at myself, is that so many people, I really believe most people have never truly experienced the deepest of loves, and you may sit there and say, oh, he's out of his mind, and we don't want to be in denial, but listen to what I have to say for a minute. So I'm going to use my own example. When I was 20 years old or so, um, I was involved in a relationship, and because I didn't know who I was, because my identity up until about my mid 30s was making everybody else around me happy. I thought if I tried to do something for myself, if I tried to do anything for myself, I was being selfish. So my identity up until my mid 30s had been, if I'm doing for others, making others happy, then I'm happy. And I really wasn't. I was a bit of a martyr, and I would be empty inside. But that was who I was. I'm pointing a thumb at myself. It's not something to be proud of, and it's something that I pray that my children and other folks out there don't try to do. As a result, when I was 20 years old, I was dating a girl who, a great person, nothing, not trashing her at all. She was going through some family issues, and I was helping her pay rent, and I was paying my rent, and came up with the logical idea that, well, if we're paying two rents, wouldn't it just be simpler to pay one rent? So based on that, why don't we get married, right? Because I can make this happen. I'm terrific. Well, 20 years old, 21 years old. Well, I don't even know the exact days anymore, but and that happened when you get older, you forget some things. But I remember the day that she told me she thought she might be pregnant. And if you know anything about what I've said, I've wanted to be a dad since I was 17 years old. And maybe that comes from what I told you earlier about myself as a kind of a character flaw that I always need to be doing for somebody else to feel like I'm to justify who I am. So maybe that's why being a parent was so important to me, because I had people that I was responsible to. Anyway, I remember she told me she thought she might be pregnant. And I remember realizing at that moment that I wasn't going to be married to this woman forever. And I didn't want to be a weekend dad. And I realized that maybe this was a mistake. And people and friends had told me that, not to trash her, just that, this is probably not the smartest thing, Jim. But the more they told me, the more I dug my feet in the ground and said, no, you don't know what I'm talking about, or what you're talking about. I'm a great guy, I can make this thing work. Well, when I realized I couldn't, luckily we didn't have a lot of assets and it wasn't real ugly. We flipped a coin. I think I got Nintendo and she got the microwave, and we went our separate ways. So that was a little bit about so about 10 months into a marriage at the age of 20 years old or 21 years old, I was already divorced. After that, I dated a little bit, and then I met a great girl I worked with for a number of years, and she is a terrific person. She's one of the few people in my past that I don't talk with today. We dated for 4 years. Got engaged before I moved to Pennsylvania from New York, and I got married. And first of all, I apologize to her because she deserves and deserved, and I believe she's happy now with a couple of kids of her own, and she deserves every bit of that. Just a great person. Kind of person that was made me a better man because of her support and her understanding. But we were not perfect for each other. She was my best friend, which a lot of people strive for. We had fun doing just about anything. But a relationship, like a lot of relationships, wasn't perfect. And I think we give a fair shot at trying to work on a couple of issues. But when we split up, it really came down to, we'd had a couple of miscarriages, or we had a miscarriage, not a couple, one. We were going through in vitro. And when you already have a lot of pressure and stress in your life, that the in vitro and wanting to be a dad so bad in your mid-30s or early 30s was really a tough situation. And on that note, I might have talked about this before, but I remember specifically one day, for those of you that have never had to go through, in vitro or trying to do any of that stuff, be grateful. But I can remember that one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, and I may have talked about this already, is walking into a fertility clinic at 8 o'clock in the morning when there's 30 women in there at 9 o'clock in the morning, all there to get checked up for their own issues. And you as a guy get called back to go give a donation, and 18 seconds later you're coming back out of the room and having 30 faces look at your wife and go, you poor girl. But it is what it is. And I remember, one of the things that came to be was I didn't want to be the reason that she wasn't able to have kids if it was me, and I didn't want her to resent me, and our relationship was more of a, we had become best friends and roommates than anything else. And my thought process was, if we're not going to be parents together, then we probably certainly deserve to have a complete relationship. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling on my second divorce. So here I am in my mid 30s, haven't been divorced twice, and haven't been something of a martyr that I was going to make everybody in the world happy and I'd suffer. And even though she wasn't perfect, and I knew it when we married, she probably knew it about me, we convinced ourselves that we were going to be okay. And therein, those two relationships, lies in my theory about why I say the vast majority of people aren't truly in love. And it's not because they don't want to be, it's because they don't give themselves the time and the chance to be. And again, hey, right here, first thing, pointing the thumb, I'm not saying I was any different. We all kind of get caught up in the idea of wanting to be in love, right? And I mean, think about it. From how many times have we heard women, little girls, well, grown women say, "I dreamed of my wedding day my whole life." You never hear them say, I dreamed of my wedding partner my whole life." They dream of a wedding day. They dream of something they want to experience. And then how can you not try to paint somebody into that picture and that mold sometimes? I'm going to get criticized as I get older, as my kids get older, for advice that I plan on giving them. And let me give you an example. So my oldest, my stepdaughter, is going to be 17, 16, 17, she's 16 now, going to be 17. And she's entering a time in her life where dating and going out is going to be something that is part of who she is and what she does. But society puts these kind of restrictions on things. And let me give you an example. So let's say she's 17 years old and she meets a boy in high school and they start to date a little bit. Well, there might be 2 or 3 or 4 boys interested in her between, now and her graduation. But guess what she's not going to do? She's not going to entertain those 3 or 4 boys. Why? Because it's not right. Right? You don't want to be doing that to somebody. You don't want to be disrespectful. So my point is, maybe any one of those 3 or 4 boys are the one for her. And she'll never get a chance to find out because she's too busy doing what we all do. We say, well, it's not proper. You wouldn't like that done to you. So now she goes on to college. And now maybe her high school boyfriend and her can't get past the distance. Maybe we grow up and life changes a little bit. And in college, she meets a guy at a party and they start to date and she likes him. And so they start to date through college. And that's kind of convenient, right? But guess what? At college, there's another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that really like her and say, hey, would you like to talk? Here's my number. And you know what she's going to say? Oh, I can't call you. I'm dating so-and-so over here. So now she's given up 5, 6, 7 years of her life to 2 people. Now, relationships come and go in the end. But in those 7 years, how many people did she turn down the opportunity of at least talking and getting to know? I'm not saying throw yourself around town and be a floozy, but I believe that these young people owe it to themselves to keep their options open and at least have a civil conversation with these people, with other folks. Now, those of you that are disagreeing with me right now will say, well, maybe, but only if they divulge it to the one they're with. I get that. I think that's fair and respectful. The problem is how many of us, male or female, would be comfortable with a spouse or not a spouse, but a partner coming to us and saying, hey, just so you know, I really enjoy your company, I really like you, but we're young, and I think we both owe it to ourselves to keep our options open, and, so I'm going to continue to talk to other people. I'm not going to date them, I'm not going to kiss them, but, just want to kind of keep my options open. I don't know if you're the one or not, and they should be able to say the same thing back to her and come to an agreement. That's a mature response to a situation. But let's be real honest, when it comes to people in general and love, maturity sometimes goes out the window. So that's kind of something what I'm talking about, why, based upon my own first 2 relationships, why I really truly believe so many people get involved and they want to get married, they want to be in love with the idea of being in love, they overlook things that were maybe red flags to them until, guess what, now they're 5 years and 2 kids into a relationship. All those little things have built up over time, and then nowadays it's just too easy to throw in the towel. It's too easy to go somewhere else. It's too easy, right? Our society has changed in such